Well, a bombshell new report asserts that Israel is considering or has actually planned a false flag operation on U.S. soil in order to drag America into war with Iran. Clayton, has this happened before? Would this be unprecedented? What do you think?
Well, in our chat room, so many people are like, USS Cole, USS Liberty. I mean, the endless list here in our chat room right now of people saying that we have a long history of this. Now, according to the report, Mossad planned a covert strike staged as an attack intended to be blamed on Iran as part of a broader strategy to provoke U.S. military action. This, of course, wouldn't be the first time Israel did this. USS Liberty, of course, is a case study in Israel's false flag attacks. Our next guest knows all about these dirty tricks, and he's been predicting something like this might happen. Michael Scheuer is a former CIA officer with over 20 years' experience. He's best known as the guy that led the hunt for Osama bin Laden, but he left the agency in disgust over its Middle East policy. He's been very outspoken about the U.S. meddling in the Middle East. He's written many, many books about it. And the CIA is not a fan of him talking about us meddling in the Middle East. Michael, great to see you, as always. Thrilled to have you back on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it, sir.
So when you see this report, and, people want to run and say, oh, this is absolutely not true. If this comes out of Iran, that Iran actually warned the Trump administration about a potential false flag on U.S. soil. When you saw this report, what did you think based on your experience?
I've always believed that we've been under attack from the Israelis since 1948. They pumped money into Truman's election campaign in return for recognition. Our citizens have been suborned to spy for them. They're behind this anti-Semitism thing that's really aimed at the First Amendment. They treat us like lackeys, and it's a sad situation. And then they try to shut you up with calling you an anti-Semite. When I was a kid, I decided I don't care what religion you have. You can worship a bag of fertilizer if that's what you want. Religion has nothing to do with it for me. What it has is a great republic has been torn asunder by the machinations, by the illegalities, by Israel. And they probably killed both Kennedy brothers, one for wanting to stop them getting the bomb and the other one for wanting to make AIPAC a agent of a foreign power. So I think we have to look at our foreign policy and revamp it to make sure that people understand that Israel is the enemy. Because of what? Maybe the inability of Americans to give up a chance at a pocket full of money. It's very interesting to watch that card they show on the internet now quite a bit, showing each member of Congress, except for I think the man from Texas, Massey, gets money from them. So, from Kentucky. I'm sorry. So 524 Americans are on their payroll. There's no shame about it. And there's no shame in those 524 men and women who are the lackeys of the Israelis and have no qualms about it becoming public.
Now, in your book, in Imperial Hubris, you talked about how your work was intelligence around Afghanistan, and our own CIA intelligence told us that there was no winnable war in Afghanistan because we had backed the Mujahideen against the Soviets. So we knew this, but we were dragged into this war anyhow. And you do a fantastic job of talking about what it is that Osama bin Laden was trying to tell us that our American media would not allow us to see. So they framed it as just hatred for Western culture and things like that. But Osama bin Laden, and this was, I think, the reason that TikTok was taken down, is because young people started to see for themselves, was warning us that our alliance with the Israeli government, not the Jews, but the Israeli government, was what was motivating terror attacks on us. So can you expand on that, please?
Sure. It wasn't only our support for the Israelis, but our half century or more support for tyranny in the Middle East. We are the strongest supporters of tyrants in the world, and people knew it. What bin Laden basically said, listen, I don't care. We don't care what you do with pornography, alcohol, women's rights, women's clothing, all of these petty little things that we wanted to blame his anger on. He basically said, get out of here. You're imposing tyrannies on the Arab people. You're imposing an enemy that will kill us at a moment's notice, children, men, women, armed fighters, whatever. And the easy thing about it, ma'am, was there's only been two people that I'm aware of who were absolutely truthful about why they were attacking the United States. And that was General Giap in South Vietnam and Osama bin Laden. And my own experience at very senior levels in most of the intelligence agency levels leaders, I'm very sure that not 1 in 100 of them ever read a word Osama bin Laden said, and they ignored them because it was something he didn't want to hear, but also because it wasn't classified. It wasn't a classified product, so of course it can't say anything. And of course we have a study. Our children who go into politics or go into the government are a lot of them come from the Ivy League, and they're taught to be the best in the world and ignore people who say anything different from you. And so bin Laden, God love him, helped me write 4 books by being honest about what he is intended to do and fiercely honest about what the Arab world was mad at.
So when you see a report like an Israeli false flag attack on the United States, like I said, we have a long history of this, the USS Liberty. I mean, there's countless examples right now.
And we should be clear, the U.S. government has not confirmed this yet. That was going to be my question. Tehran.
That was going to be my question. So Tehran says they told the Trump administration that they had intelligence showing that Israel was going to carry out this attack. I mean, how do we verify that? Will we ever hear from the Trump administration to confirm that? Because then almost immediately, Trump publicly called for Israelis to pardon Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday. He sent this long tirade about how he should call for a pardon. Here it is. Look at this. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he's like, this guy's a lover of freedom.
He's a warrior, a great warrior, victim of a witch hunt.
This would be a witch hunt. Please cancel this trial immediately. I mean, again, how do we verify it? Go ahead.
You don't. You hope what's happening is that not all of our intelligence agencies and police forces are suborned either by being pro-democratic or being pro-Israel, and maybe one of them would break it up. I have no doubt. I have no doubt that they would try to do it if they would, in response for what happened over the weekend. But you say we also don't have any proof that anything that had happened over the weekend and an attack on those sites made any difference. So I don't know where we are. I really don't, except to say that until America can put together a policy that really is America first, not Israel first, not NATO first, and it may take a president whose head isn't turned by every time somebody praises him. It's an American president to be effective in the world has to be someone who's willing to say what he thinks and not what people want to hear. And I'm afraid on Israel, at least, and now on NATO, we're going to get the same ring around. You know, it's a very difficult situation to be in, Clayton, and especially so because, you know, I lost 4 jobs so far, supposedly not because of the Israelis, but certainly because of the Israelis. So I've been on the taking end from them without, and you know, it's fair play. I went into it with my eyes open, but it's a problem, and it's right there in our laps. It doesn't take a Harvard graduate to figure out what's going on here. It's money, it's threats. It's crews saying, yeah, they gather intelligence against Mossad gathers intelligence against Americans. It's the Southern Poverty Law Center and the ADL providing information on conservative Catholics and other conservative Americans to the FBI during the reign of Biden. It's like we're in a war that we don't even realize, and we're sucking up to the enemy.
I mean, I just got chills. I just want people to understand this is deadly serious shit we're talking about here. Like, this is not some fancy pants sensationalized stuff. This is the highest level. I mean, this makes me absolutely furious.
Well, you see, to be perfectly fair, Netanyahu wants to destroy as much as of the first 4 amendments of the United States, the first 2 amendments at least. And he's obviously doing it through his surrogates, through IPAC, through ADL, through the Southern Poverty Law Center. Why wouldn't he kill us if he needed to? Or kill me, or kill somebody who is influential? I am not. But I'm not going to be quiet either. So it ought to be, it's a disgrace for every American. It's a disgrace for 20 million Christian Zionists who think these gangsters in Israel are somehow the same thing as the Israelites in the Bible.
If any of you watching right now are homeowners, you need to pay attention to what I'm about to tell you, because it's one of the fastest growing crimes in the United States of America, according to the FBI. Yes, scammers are stealing home titles, the title to your home, and you won't even know about it. You'll find out only later, because someone has tried to take out a loan in your name. They're trying to target the equity in your home. And here's how it works. Criminals forge your signature on one document. They use a fake notary stamp that they can get on Amazon. They're so cheap, it's ridiculous. They pay a small fee with your county. And then just like that, your home title has been transferred out of your name. It's that easy. Then they take out loans using your equity or even selling your property, and you won't even know it's happened until you get a collection notice or a foreclosure notice in the mail. Can you imagine? So when's the last time you checked on your home's title? If the answer is never, then you need to do something about it right now. That's why I've partnered with Home Title Lock, so you can find out today if you're a victim. Use my promo code REDACTED at HometitleLock.com, and you'll get a free title history report and a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title. That's urgent alerts if there's any changes to your home's title. And if fraud does happen, this is the best part. They will spend up to $1 million to fix it. It's incredible. Natalie and I are paying customers of Home Title Lock. They didn't give me a freebie. They didn't send me a free one because they're on our show. No, we pay for it. We believe it's that important to protect our home's title. That way, if there's ever a problem, we'll be notified about it, and then they can handle it. I don't have a team that can get my title back. They can do it. That's why they'll spend up to $1 million getting the title back on your home. They're fantastic. So go to HometitleLock.com, use the promo code REDACTED. That's HometitleLock.com, and use that promo code REDACTED.
The media, though, should not have an excuse for the lopsided way that they report this. So this story about the possible false flag on our shores, which would kill Americans, what is barely touched by the mainstream media.
It's being ignored.
But we saw over the weekend, let's juxtapose that with the weekend, with headlines everywhere about Iranian sleeper cells that were going to harm us. So does the media not care? They only want us to be killed by Iranians in the same way that they pick up on stories that they can't verify, like Iran wanted to assassinate President Trump. Iran had, here's another story that was grossly ignored when Iran released the documents of the IAEA showing that they were coordinating with the Israelis to prove that Iran had a nuclear weapon, which has not been proven. So what excuse do you have for this lopsided reporting and the way that it scares Americans in the wrong way?
I think it's a simple thing. The people in the media are no more, are as much eager to make money as the Congress is. You throw them a bone, and their bosses are wealthy Jewish Americans. What's the answer then? They're in the pocket of them, and they're in the pocket of the Democratic Party that we've seen. So this is, as you both have said, and very truthfully, this is a war we're involved in that's never been discussed, has never been planned for. And when I to try to be kind to Trump, and I've always been a very strong supporter of him, but I wouldn't be sure that he was ill-informed about the targets that he was going to order the attack on in Iran rather, because if the Iranians are nothing but smart and cunning people, we announced where those 3 places were a long time ago in the media. And to think that they wouldn't have left anything they couldn't replace there over that amount of time is really calling them stupid. And I think that's the road to defeat.
Now,
I wanted to ask you about that specifically. Why we believe, I mean, so when we hit these targets, there's this all back and forth. Was it there? Was it there? Was any material there at all anyway? There was maybe nothing there. These buildings were empty. So what's your assessment?
Well, they might have still had machinery or whatever kind of equipment they need to enrich uranium. They might have left that behind. That can be replaced. But what interested me over the past day was Hegseth and the Secretary of State and the head of the CIA. They sounded like those 51 people who came out and told America that the Biden laptop was a Russian plant. That was obviously wrong from the start, but yet they were in the government and they were supposed to know, and people credited it. And it helped to lose the election, not as much as the Democrats fixing the election with China, but still it didn't help it. So it's another one of these things, Clayton, that is so obvious that maybe it's hard to see. And we don't want to admit it.
Now, there are political experts that I value who say that this could be Trump sort of wanting Netanyahu to be in his debt, this effusive, he's a great warrior post, and possibly if he delegitimates, I don't think that's a word, Netanyahu, then his whole peace agreement falls apart. And there are reports now that he has got him to agree to end the Gaza war within 2 weeks. So is there a possibility that President Trump has some plan that is not immediately apparent to the rest of us?
No.
Okay.
No. He may think he have one. He may think he has one, but Netanyahu's never going. He's a warrior in the same sense that Stalin and Hitler were warriors. They're murderers. And that's what we have. And I could be wrong on all of this, ma'am. I don't want to say that I'm clairvoyant, but he's an easily influenced man if you praise him, it seems. And he doesn't care about the promises he made, apparently, on wars. And the fact is, whether Israel exists or not is a matter of complete indifference to the United States. In terms of our national interests, our national security, our ability to conduct government in a way that's not ridden by either agents of the Mossad or people who are anti-American. All of this comes together in an unfortunate clog, and Trump has got it, and he appears contaminated by it at the moment, and I hope he's not. I hope I'm wrong. I think in many ways he's got great ideas about trying to get America back on track, but this is not the path. It's the path to more disaster.
Right.
Well, no one knows this better than you. I mean, sitting at the highest levels of the intelligence community, I mean, hunting down bin Laden, you saw all of the machinery in action in the Middle East better than just about any.
Yes, and also saw the U.S. government refuse to take 10 opportunities to kill him or capture him. And 10? Then deny that. Yeah, and now they're blaming it on, I had about 27 people working for me, and about 22 were women, and they were the best officers I ever worked with. And now they're saying one of the reasons we couldn't get bin Laden was because there were too many women in my organization, and that's the reason I got fired for it. One of the reasons they wanted to get rid of me, because a good old boy, not a kid from Buffalo, is gonna play games, and he'll bring in all the men that anybody wants. The only reason I'm pretty confirmed by that is there was a man named John Rizzo, who was the CIA's the big lawyer, and before he passed away, he said that the one thing that the CIA director at the time couldn't stand was the bin Laden unit had so many women in it, they would never get the job done. Well, they got the job done, and they had it done in spades. And I had a half a dozen great men who worked for me. I learned a lot from all of them. But what I learned most of all was the senior levels of the intelligence agency, right up to the cabinet and the National Security Council, they are uninterested in defending Americans and American lives if it means bad press, or if it means some kind of a charge against them for being unsympathetic to Muslims, or if what they want to do is going to be harmful to Israel, or their income from the Israelis. So it's really much more of a morass than people think it is. And people want to believe that their elected representatives and the bureaucrats that support them want to protect their kids and their schools and their way of life and their jobs. It's just not true. That no one has been arrested for those 51 people who came out and helped throw the 2020 election and I know a lot of them, or some of them. And one I worked very closely with for much of my career. That was just a plain lie, and yet nothing's been done. So again, you can get much better people to talk about the whole of American foreign policy than I am. But if you want to talk about the holes in it, the incompetence in it, the looking out for yourself that's in it, the importance of organization first, not the United States, I've studied it a long time, and I'll stand by my conclusions.
Right. All right, Michael Scheuer, thank you so much. We want to recommend that you look into his many books that have proven to be right about U.S. flawed foreign policy and all of the things that we ignore, but march straight into battle anyway. Thank you so much, sir, for your time.
Thanks, pleasure. Michael. It's always very kind of you to have me. Thank you.